Hey, welcome back, Mathletes. We've got our second day of lesson 2.5, which involves dividing with fractions. So our ICANs for today, again, are using a reciprocal when we are dividing with fractions, and we always want to simplify those answers. And then we're going to work specifically with some real-life story problem situations today, and then we'll also blend in a little bit of order of operations when fractions are involved. So we'll start by just reviewing the idea that we discussed yesterday with a reciprocal. And a reciprocal, if you remember, is just a fraction that is flip-flopped. So that when we multiply them by its reciprocal, we end up with 1. So a 2 over 3 becomes a 3 over 2. That's the reciprocal of each other. Some people like to say refliprical because it reminds them that the numerator is now the denominator and the denominator is now the numerator. So remember that we discussed that multiplying by 1 over 2 or dividing by 2 over 1 is really the exact same thing. Taking a Twizzler and cutting it into 2 parts, taking a Twizzler and splitting it in half. Half of something or dividing it by 2 is the exact same math problem. And since we can kind of trade them, I guess, get rid of the division idea with a multiplication idea, we know how easy multiplying fractions is. And so if we can kind of swap that out, we won't have to divide at all. Multiplying is usually a lot easier for people than dividing. So we took notes yesterday on your orange handout. We said that sometimes we will have those whole numbers and we always want to give them a denominator of 1 to make them look like a fraction. We know that when we used a multiplication with mixed numbers, we turned our mixed numbers to improper. And now we have, well, what if we're dividing? And when we're dividing, we're going to use the idea of keeping it, changing it, flipping it. So your first fraction stays the same. You don't change what I have. The amount is still the same, but you can't change how I share it. So instead of dividing it by a fraction, we can instead multiply it by its reciprocal opposite. So do the opposite with the opposite looking flipped over fraction. So first value stays the same, remember. Division becomes multiply, reciprocal of the second fraction. Then we're ready to just multiply, which is easy, all the way across. And then we simplify our answers at the end always. So here's an example for you just to kind of try. We'll freshen this up from yesterday. In your notebooks, please find 3/8 divided by 1/12. Prepare your numbers, multiply them, and don't forget to simplify. We'll pause the video while you work. So I'm going to work this one out just so you can kind of see if you are on track with your thoughts here. I'm going to prepare by keeping the 3/8 3/8. But instead of splitting it into 1/12, I'm going to multiply it by the reciprocal 12 over 1. Now it looks like multiplying with a whole number, which that was so last week. I'm ready to do my second step, which is just to multiply. So we multiply our numerators across together. 3 times 12 is 36. We multiply our denominators together. 8 times 1 is 8. And now we need to look to simplify. So I see that my value is big on top and little on the bottom. This is an improper fraction, which means I need to turn it into a mixed number. So I'm thinking, how many 8s go into 36? Some of you can just mental math this. If not, use your multiplication chart. If I count by 8s, 8, 16, 24, 32, it takes me 4 times to get there. 4 becomes my whole number. 32 is as close as I can get here. And then if I subtract, I end up with 4 extras. So 4 and 4/8 is my mixed. But I notice 4 and 8 have common factors that I need to simplify by removing from them. So I can divide them both by 4s. I could have divided them both by 2s and then 2s again because they were even numbers, but it's faster to just do the greatest common factor of 4. So we end up with 4 wholes. And 4 divided by 4 gives me the fractional part 1 numerator, and 8 divided by 4 gives me the fractional part 2 denominator. So 3/8 split into groups that are 1/12 in size means I could make 4.5 groups. the pieces are really tiny, but I can still do that 4.5 times. How'd you do? Were you able to prepare? How about multiply? And how about simplify both ways? So let's discuss when we're setting up a real life situation that requires division. When you write your expression and it's a division kind of splitting idea, we want to start with the total. Always start with the big total amount and split it into smaller groupings, smaller parts, smaller pieces. So when you're writing your expression, total split by parts, set it up this way. Your total could be a fraction. Your total could also be a whole number. Your parts could be a fraction, or your parts could be a whole number. So we could have a fraction of a food amount being split between 3 whole people. Maybe they're sharing like 2/3 cup of something. So we want to set up our expressions this way. And then once we have the expression written, we'll just solve it, simplify our answer, and throw a label on the end because it does represent some kind of real life math. So I'll show you an example here first. There's a baker who happens to be making cupcakes or some kind of kitchen treat. They start off with 13 cups of cocoa powder. Now, the batches of cupcakes use 2/3 cup of cocoa powder each. We wonder how many batches of these cupcakes can this baker make before he runs out of cocoa powder and has to order more. So my expression would be the total amount of cocoa powder, which in this situation, I see that he has 13 cups in all. I'm going to split it into the size that each batch needs. Each batch needs 2/3 of a cup. So every time I remove 2/3 of a cup, he's going to make a batch. And I want to keep doing that over and over and over until he runs out of cocoa powder. So my expression is the total cocoa, 13, divided by the size of the cocoa, 2/3. And I'm going to solve this. I'm going to keep the cocoa the same. Don't change how much cocoa he has. But I'm going to make it look like a fraction by giving it a denominator of 1. I'm going to change my division to multiply. And I'm going to flip over my 2/3 into 3/2 as the reciprocal. Now that I'm set up looking like a multiply question, which is what our handout has us do, we're all prepared and ready to go. Now it's time to just multiply and then simplify. So I'm going to multiply across. 13 times 3, I know that's 39. Denominators, 1 times 2, I know that's 2. This is very improper. He can make 39 half batches. That doesn't make sense. So I'm going to turn this into its mixed value. 2 goes into 39. Let me erase some of this so I have a little bit of room to work here. 2 goes into 39 19 whole times, with 1 out of 2 extra. So the baker can make 19 full batches or 19 and a half batches before he needs to order more cocoa. So that's my example. Now we're going to give you a chance to try one yourself. You'll read through your story. Think of what expression you're going to write. Remember, we set it up by putting the total first, and then we're going to divide it into parts. Then you'll solve that division problem that you write. Remember to use that reciprocal. Simplify your answer and throw a label. We'll pause the video while you work. So let's see how you did. Your expression would have been that the total trail mix was 9/10. That's the amount of trail mix that you start with. You're going to split it into servings. Every serving scoop is 1/4 cup in size. And this would be like the nutritional label on a package. It tells you how much you should eat as one serving. So first, see, did you set up the expression correctly? With division, we cannot flip these numbers around, just like with subtraction. 3 minus 2 is not 2 minus 3. 10 divided by 5 is not 5 divided by 10. So we always start with our total first. Now we're going to set it up with a reciprocal instead. So I'm going to keep the Trail mix the same. 9/10 is just 9/10. You can't go changing the trail mix. I'm going to change the math from divide to multiply, which is the opposite. And in order to do that, I need the opposite fraction, the reciprocal 4/1. Now I'm ready to multiply. So we're going to multiply across 9 times 4, get a 36. And across the denominators, 10 times 1. 36/10 servings. Let's make that a more simple way of thinking about this. 10 goes into 36 exactly 3 times with 6 extras out of 10. That fraction, 6 and 10, are even numbers. Even numbers are always able to be divided by 2s. So you can make 3 and 3/5 servings. Or you could feed yourself 3 whole servings of trail mix and a little bit of extra trail mix on the 4th day. Look it over. How'd you do? Did you write an expression? Did you set it up with the reciprocal? Did you solve it and simplify it correctly? Did you remember a label? Our next focus for today is going to be how do we use order of operations when fractions are involved? So we worked with order of operations back in chapter 1. The only difference is we used whole numbers. But this chapter we're working with fractions. So if you look at example 3 on the top of textbook page 81, see if you can discover how do we work with order of operations in fractions? Is it the same? Do things get adjusted? We'll pause the video while you look to learn. So you should have discovered on textbook page 81 that nothing changes with order of operations. We still follow the exact same order, which is our parenthesis math first, our exponent math second. We multiply and divide, working left to right if we have more than 1/3, and save the adding or subtracting for last. Remember, when we are adding or subtracting, you've got to have a common denominator. So there's that kicker. And remember, when we're dividing with a fraction, we always have to set it up with a reciprocal. So a couple of extra bonus things to remember when we're working with order of operations. And just like in our connect problem, when we said, remember that 4 squared is really 4 times 4, and 3/5 squared is really 3/5 times 3/5. So if you have an exponent, it's repeat multiply. You're just going to be repeating a fraction instead of a whole number. So I'll walk you through one here, and then we'll give you a chance to try one yourself. First thing I notice on my expression is that I have 2 operations. I have division, and I have addition. And when I look at this problem, I have no parentheses and I have no exponents. The step 3 would be divide. So I'm focusing on this part of my problem first. I'm going to set this up the way I know to divide fractions by doing keep, change divide to multiply, and flip to its reciprocal. Now I'm going to solve this mini problem. Multiply across, I get 5/2. I'm going to keep it improper because fractions are easier to work with when they are improper. The only time we want to make it a mixed is if it's our final answer. But I am not done because I still have some addition to do. I'm going to bring down my adding 2/7 fraction. And I know that I need a common denominator to add these together. So if I count by 2s and I count by 7s, I'll say 14 first. 14 is going to be my new common denominator. I have to think about how I changed my old denominator here, and it was a times 7, which means I have to equally multiply my numerator times 7, giving me a 35. My other fraction, count by 7s twice, count by my numerator the same. 2 times 2 is 4. Now I have a common denominator. I can add my common fractions together. 35/14 plus 4/14 gives me 39/14. This can't be my final answer yet because it's improper. So how many 14s go into 39? And if I do 3 groups of 14, I see that's too big. It's 42. So I know it can only be 2 groups. 2 groups of 14 is 28, leaving me with 11 extras. And my denominator stays the same. So I end up with 2 and 11/14 as my final answer. Notice I followed the order of operations. When I divided, I followed what good dividing fraction problems look like. And when I added, I needed that common denominator first. I'll give you one to try. We'll pause the video while you solve 1/4 plus 1/2 divided by 4/5. So you've got a little bit of add and a little bit of divide. And I know that between those two, your division comes before your addition. So we're going to focus on the division first because it's more important according to order of operations. So when we set this up as a division question, we'll keep it. We'll change to the opposite, which is multiply. And we're going to flip over your fraction. Look to see if you remembered to flip that fraction over. And look to see if you solve the division question first, because order of operations tells you to. Then, now that we're prepared, we're ready to multiply. So 1 times 5 is 5, and 2 times 4 is 8. So for this fractional problem, I'm going to use a 5/8. But I'm not done yet, because I need to bring on down this 1/4 so I can add these two values together. But I need a common denominator. So if we count by 4s and we count by 8s, 8ths is the first value that they both have in common. The good news is 5/8 is already in 8ths, but 1/4 is not. So I would grow this 4 twice by doubling it, which means I need to equally grow my numerator of 1 by doubling it. So if I doubled it, I would end up with a 2 here. And now I have common fractions, and I'm ready to actually add. 2/8 plus 5/8 gives me 7/8. Can it be simpler? Well, it's not improper because the top numerator is smaller than the bottom denominator, and 7 and 8 have no factors in common. So 7/8 it is. How'd you do? When working through order of operations, did you choose the operation correctly to solve first? Did you remember to use a reciprocal since it was division? Before you added, did you get a common denominator? Did you add correctly? And did you know that your answer was already simplified? So you're going to practice an order of operations question with a partner. You're going to work together because 2 brains are better than 1. Remember that if you're adding or subtracting, you have to use a common denominator. If you have a mixed number that needs to be multiplied in there, make it an improper first. You'll compare it, work together. When you're ready, come check your answer. If we have mistakes, I'm going to send you back to dig and see if you can figure out what happened. And then after that, you'll be ready to move on to today's practice. Happy order of operations.